Good to go?
All right, we're live, man.
Finally,
All
my
right.
return to the crypto space with Clayford.
Heck yeah. All right, guys, welcome to the stream today. Crypto Clay, your host. Glad to have everybody here. Um, I have a good friend of mine actually that we we've been friends on Twitter and other social medias for the past few years, I think. And this is
Yep.
actually the first time we've ever had a conversation face to face before. So this is actually really, really,
Digital world, man.
yeah, this is actually
Yeah.
really awesome for me. But Kyle, why don't we just go ahead and get started with your introduction? Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us how you got into crypto.
Yeah. Thanks for the introduction, man. It's cool to be like back on YouTube, especially on your channel. I think your channel is going to do really well. Obviously, you have a lot of good background knowledge on this stuff. Clayford was just teaching me how to run a validator on one of these new blockchains that we might talk about later. But yeah, my name's Kyle. I'm known as BTC Kyle on YouTube and Twitter. Uh, I used to do like daily YouTube videos about cryptocurrency, like technical analysis, some project analysis every once in a while. But I kind of faded off that scene, especially when the bear market came. And uh, where I live is New York State. New York State, they are not friendly with like alternative currencies, altcoins, and all that stuff. So I like ran out of options to trade. So things got a little bit boring, and then I fell off. But in the background, I've been trading cryptocurrencies ever since 2013 when I was in college, getting my engineering degree. Pretty much my last year of college. I've always been entrepreneurial minded and tech minded, so that drew me to Bitcoin. Wanting to make $1 and then having that deal with technology and like computers and graphics cards and all that kind of stuff too. So that's what pretty much grabbed my attention. And then I kind of just fell into the pit of cryptocurrencies. And here I am today, still trading, just not as much as I used to.
Right. Um, I remember. So the first time I ever saw you was actually on a YouTube video with Chris Dunn. That
Oh
was
yeah, Chris Dunn. Yeah,
Yep,
yep.
that was the very first time I ever had heard of you, and
Mm-hmm.
I watched that video and I was kind of amazed because I had been in the crypto space for a while. I knew the potential there of earning a decent amount, but I had never so I obviously started out very small, just like you did, but
Right.
I didn't do nearly as well as you did initially starting out. And so I watched your video, and I think that's whenever I was like, you know what? If this guy can do it, then I can do it too. Um,
Wow, that's really funny. So that's how you initially found me.
yeah,
Interesting. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think you reached out to me first, though. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I knew who you
It's been
were.
so long, so I don't remember.
Yeah. So uh, I knew who you were whenever you reached out to me, though.
Oh, okay.
And so I thought that was really cool. And it just shows like how small our space was back then. Um,
Mhm.
the the crypto community has definitely grown a lot since then. You did that video with Chris Dunn back in 2016, I want to say.
Yeah, it was 2016.
Yeah.
Those
So,
were the good days, man.
oh, dude, I completely
Between
agree.
2015 and 2016 were like the golden days.
Yeah.
No one will ever experience what it was like back in the day.
No, no.
Like,
Like there was a lot of. I mean, 2016 was kind of tragic for me as well, though, because that's whenever Cryptsy closed down. Like they shut their
yeah,
doors, and
yeah.
I had, I think, like 50 Bitcoin on Cryptsy at the time.
Oh my God.
So it was. It still is tragic. I mean, you would have thought that I would have learned my lesson with Mount Gox. It was super funny, man. I created a Mount Gox account in November of 2013, and they went
Okay.
insolvent literally 3 months later. Like,
Yikes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just remember buying all this Bitcoin and thinking how cool it was, like how I was like, an innovator and,
Right. Was that your first introduction into Bitcoin, like your first purchase
yeah.
into Bitcoin?
Yeah.
So you deposited dollars onto Mt. Gox.
Yeah.
So Mark Carpelli's or whoever has some of your money then,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yep. Yep.
Are you currently in the process of trying to get that money back through those class action suits
No,
for Cripsy or Mt. Gox?
no, actually with Cripsy, yes. With Mount Gox, no. Um, the reason behind that is I didn't hop on that bandwagon early enough, and they cut
Mm-hmm.
off the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
I missed the deadline for that one, but with Cripsy, it's still ongoing. I just don't foresee anything coming of it. And with Mount Gox, um, I was I was reading that the lawyers are probably going to take a good chunk of that anyways. So
Right. Of course.
so it doesn't
Of
even
course.
matter. Like,
Yeah.
and the same thing is happening right now with the Taizos litigation. I don't know if you've read anything about that, but
I haven't been following up on the latest.
yeah.
Maybe you can fill me in.
So with Tezos, if you bought into the ICO, you're entitled to a certain amount depending on the amount that you put in. But there is a caveat to that. If your current holdings, if you didn't sell it all, if you didn't sell your Tezos at all, and your current holdings are worth more than they were whenever you bought into the ICO, which they are, then you get nothing. So it's kind of funny, but at the same time, even if I were to get money from that
Yeah.
for anything, because they already paid, like the Tezos Foundation already said, look, we don't want to deal with this. Let's just go ahead and settle. So they already paid
Yep.
that money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if I were to get anything back from that, I would literally just send it back to the Tezos Foundation because I really care about that project and I want to see it prosper. Because if it does, then I make money anyways, right?
Right, right. You probably, what was the ICO price? Around 50 cents, 30 cents,
Yeah,
something like
it
that.
was like 40 cents a coin.
All right, so it's pretty much up like a 9x right now.
Yeah,
So if you were to get any money back your initial investment, it's just better to give it back to the Taizos Foundation.
right.
It's kind of like making a YouTube channel. I know Tone Vase. I watch Tone Vase sometimes, and what he says is he works for Bitcoin because he makes YouTube videos, and the more YouTube videos he makes, the more exposure he gets for the whole space. The more users that come in, and obviously that's more capital inflow to the whole market space. So, and
Right.
that brings his Bitcoin holdings up. So it's like the same idea. You're giving some of the money back to Tezos. Not that they might not necessarily need it, but that's the same thing saying like charities don't need the $50 million that they were donated. Like they'll always need the money. So that's
Right.
cool. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
like the more money the Tezos Foundation has, like the more projects they can endeavor with, like
Right. Yeah.
they just had that huge project with real estate that
Mm-hmm.
they created that deal with I think it was in Europe. Some
Yeah. I might have just pulled that up actually.
really.
Um, so it was the largest private investment bank in Latin America issues real estate tokens on Tezos.
Oh, it was in Latin
So
America.
so like security tokens. Well, this might not be uh, the first company or business or bank to issue tokens on Tezos. Like this might have been another one.
Yeah,
You might have been thinking about a different one earlier on.
maybe so.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a big deal, especially nowadays. Like while this crisis going on and like people not trusting the government as much, like going into the digital world, like knowing what you hold is actually what you hold
Yeah.
and it has the value that it has. That's so important. And being able to put these securities on top of the blockchain and make it so you and I can trade like parts of real estate,
Yeah.
like profitable real estate that issues like ongoing like dividends. Like that is so cool. And like most people don't realize that now, but that's going to be huge in the future. Absolutely huge. These
I
security tokens.
Dude,
Going to be awesome.
so I was thinking of this back in 2017, man, and like real estate was going to be the last thing that I wanted to talk about today, but
No,
like
we don't have to talk about it.
no, like
Yeah.
you just made me think of something that I thought of like back in 2017. So imagine you go to buy a piece of real estate from somebody. You need the deed for that transaction, right? To prove that that is now your property.
Right.
And that deed gets passed from owner to owner, right? What if we utilized blockchain smart contracts to seal the deal on things like that, whereas like the deed is no longer just a piece of paper, it's actually accredited on the blockchain. So you have an address that's associated with a specific user who now owns that piece of property, and it's all sealed on the blockchain because if you
take out all the inefficiencies.
Exactly. If you look at history, there has actually been so many lawsuits, like so many civil suits about property and who actually owns what. Well, if that is actually like secured on the blockchain, there's no dispute about who owns it. It shows exactly there, and everybody in the world can see that because it's a public ledger.
Yeah, I believe I know of a couple projects that have been doing that. Obviously, they haven't been in the news, but Factum is one of them, I believe. The Factum blockchain.
Okay.
There might have been a new cryptocurrency named Factum that came out. The original Factum. And then I believe. Do you know who Patrick Byrne is of Overstock.com? He was the CEO of Overstock.com.
Yep.
So they have like a investment business, portfolio business that it's called like Medici Ventures or something like that. The reason why I know the names of all these is because I'm invested in T0, which does the security token stuff.
Okay.
But Patrick, he was working with Medici Ventures to do exactly what you had just said, like to the T. So because there's issues with land ownership and like who owns what, and especially in these third world countries, they're meeting up with local governments and issuing these parcels of land on the blockchain. Dude, which is so freaking cool.
That's awesome.
There's no dispute. There's no like, fudging the names, fudging the numbers. It is what it is.
Dude.
And that's definitely how it's going to be. That's just another great example of how blockchain can be used.
That's awesome, man.
Because it's decentralized too. Once it's written, it can't be changed. Like you have these people are like, oh, why do you need decentralization? But if you have all these databases that are centralized, there could be some stuff that happens.
Bad actors.
People are very smart.
Yeah.
There's a lot of smart people out there, a lot smarter than you and I combined.
Yeah.
That can figure out ways to manipulate. But with blockchain, it's a lot harder.
Yeah. I mean, if you were using the Bitcoin protocol, then you would need 51% of the hash power to be able to accomplish something like that.
Right.
And
right.
That's
for a long period of time too. Like to be able to, and like even if we had a 51% attack, we could just fork off and essentially fork back in to the correct blockchain. I don't know how to do that myself, but with all the node owners, right? They can all come into consensus and fork off and go back to the original Bitcoin if we were ever 51% attacked.
Yeah, it's just never going to happen though. Like Bitcoin is never going to be attacked like that. The hash rate is currently way too high.
Right.
It's just impossible.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah, dude, like so much has changed though since you and I came into like blockchain. Like I remember whenever there was only just a few exchanges to buy from and trade on. Like what would you say is the best piece of advice as far as like trading goes that you've learned over the years since you came into the space?
Well, luckily I was kind of like really poor back in the day, so I wasn't never in that boat where I invested too much to like lose a house or anything like that. But
Okay.
obviously the basics, if you're just learning how to trade, learn how to trade. And then once you think you know how to trade, you don't. You got to keep practicing. Like, cause like even today, I've been trading since 2013.
Right.
The market dynamics are constantly changing. So it's depending on what type of person you are. If you're like if you want to like increase the value of your portfolio like really quickly, then you take more risk, obviously. But I would say for people who are more middle aged, kind of like in the middle of their careers, you don't want to go too hard unless you're starting off with a lower position. But trading these markets can be really hard. A lot of people say that the markets are kind of like manipulated. I don't necessarily think they're manipulated as much as they used to be, but uh, there might be ways for people to like flash orders on the order book. So when I was beginning to trade, I saw like a sell order for like 100 Bitcoin on the sell side. This is like just in the beginning. So just when I was learning how to trade. So I immediately thought, oh, the market's going to go down. There's a guy out there who wants to sell 100 Bitcoins,
Right.
right? It's like the opposite of what you should think, typically. Not all the time, but typically bigger position size people out there, they flash bigger orders on the books to scare people like you, the new guys, into selling into their buy orders. They remove that sell order and the market typically goes up. Again, that doesn't happen all the time, but just be wary of situations like that. Your emotions might be playing against you, and that still happens to me to this day. Again, because all the conditions are constantly changing.
Right.
Yeah. So, um, and don't leave all of your money on exchanges, obviously. And no
Oh.
offense.
Oh. Hit
Uh,
me. Hit.
no, listen, Clayford, you can't blame the guy because and I told him this before. I told him this in DMs like a week ago or so. You can't blame Clayford for getting goxed or cripsied or big verned, whatever you want to say,
Yeah.
because we weren't thinking like you don't think like in hindsight, yeah, like you got to think like security, like two-factor authentication and like security keys and all that stuff. But like back then, it was like you don't think that someone's going to go off and steal all your money.
Right.
You just don't. Like it's never happened to you. But like now, like for people coming in now, you have to be really careful. You have to beef up your security. I'm talking about an email for every single exchange they use, social media profile that you use, back all those emails up with security keys. So I have like a security key right here. It's called DB key. I don't know if you can see it.
Nice. Yeah.
So no one can sign into my accounts unless they have this key. And oh, if you steal this key, I have a backup. So
Nice.
so you can buy like a UB key, go right to Google, put it into your USB drive. You press the little capacitive button on there, and it fills out all the credentials on Google. And then the only way you can log in is through the security key, and then you will have a much less likely chance of getting hacked.
Dude, that's great
Yeah.
advice. Honestly, I know for me, like personally, I like to use things like OnePass that creates like these randomized passwords for you.
That too. That too.
That way, like you never have to worry about people that use only one password for everything are the people that are gonna get screwed the most. You want to use different passwords for everything. And I think I made a video of that like a long time ago, but yeah, dude, that's great advice. Another thing is like hardware wallets. I can't stress that enough. Yeah, you've got your Trezor. I know that you're a big fan of Trezor, but I'm more of a fan of Ledger. But it's all just personal preference, obviously. Like you can use whatever you want. Murray Boyce, morning, interesting chat. Thank you. What hardware key was that? Yeah. What was that again that you were using?
So this is UB key.
UB key.
It works with all Google accounts. It actually works with Binance and Coinbase now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. But the only thing is, if you want to use this with Coinbase, I haven't checked in a while, but Coinbase, the app, doesn't support this yet. So if you try to log in on your app on your phone, you can't get past the YubiKey because they haven't actually integrated the authentication for the YubiKey. They may have integrated that by now, but if you're just going on to Coinbase.com, like the web user interface, you can use the YubiKey. And then your OnePass. Do you know if you can secure your OnePass with security keys at all, or?
I believe you can. Yeah.
Yeah. So I use LastPass for the randomized password things, and I do the same thing there. So if someone finds out my master password, that's fine. They still can't get in because I have the security key that's blocking them from getting in.
Dude, that's
so, and I have no, like, we're talking like security, like no one can get in. No one, yeah. Absolutely no one. And I challenge any of you to try to get into my accounts as well. I'm kidding. Don't try.
Don't please. Try it. Don't try that. That's not cool. That's not cool.
Okay, you can try it, but like try it to someone else's account.
Unless you're like a white hacker and you're like, hey, I just wanted to show that I could get in, but here's your money.
If you get past my security key, the whole world has a problem then.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I think the people of YubiKey would feel so bad that I got hacked because you can't really get around that. They'd probably pay me back for whatever I lost.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Roger Carols, is that how you say that last name? Roger Carols. Do you suggest online password storage? No. Anything online can be hacked.
Yeah.
So with the programs that Kyle and I are talking about, they're all like stored on your hard drive. So
it's encrypted in like the browser. So enable to unlock LastPass, it's like it stores it inside the browser, and then
but those passwords are stored on your actual hard drive, right? And not over the air.
I think so. They might not be.
Oof. Okay.
It might not be.
With OnePass, it's literally stored on your hard drive, and you don't have to worry about anybody hacking into that, unless of course like you click on malware or something that allows them to see your screen.
Right. But then again, like still, if it is even a online password manager, if let's say your password manager is completely hacked and everything is exposed, like the most important things, especially like your cryptocurrency exchanges, that's why you back up your cryptocurrency exchange or your email address with the security key as well, because even if they know all your passwords, that's fine. They can have a heyday trying to figure out your security key because it's impossible. So that's the second authentication method
for sure
will help you out. So, and they're only like, you want to buy two, because if you lose your first one, you're kind of screwed. So you want to buy two, have that the main key with you at your desk, and then put the other one somewhere in a really safe spot.
Yeah. And then you want to buy two hardware wallets as well. Like I was saying, I use Ledger. He uses Trezor. But it's important to have two of those as well, just so that you can back one up if one fails or you accidentally lose it or something. But the thing is if anybody like were to steal your hardware wallet, they wouldn't be able to access it because they would need your private key, which is a string of words. I think it's like 16 words. So they wouldn't be able to access that.
Right. Yeah, as long as you can save I think they call it a seed key, which is the private key in Word format. But if you break it down into the hash, it's like it's private key. But then you can have a password on top of that. So even if they do get your seed key, you can have some password. It doesn't have to be super crazy, but you can make it something simple that you'll always remember. You'll never forget. Yeah. So even if you're like your house is robbed or something like that, and they grab your seed key, they grab your Trezors, they think they got you. They don't, because you have that simple passphrase that is going to be the last protection.
Yeah.
And also, one more thing: if they steal your seed key and your Trezor, that means they have everything, and there's really nothing for them to have, and nothing for you to have anymore, because there's literally no access. But if you do a double backup of your seed key and put that also in another location, you can potentially save yourself.
Yeah.
Or you can split the seed key in half, put one at your parents' house, keep one at your house, something like that. Just little things like that.
Yeah, I've got a couple of flash drives that I keep just random information on, and I've got those in a safe.
There you go.
There you go. Actually meant browser password storage. Is it safe? Yeah, it is relatively safe, especially if you're using like one of those hardware keys that Kyle was talking about. Roger said, I recently lost access to my IOST wallet when I failed to take down the 12-word phrase. Would there be a way to get it back? I used Google Browser. No. Unfortunately, if you lose your private key, there is absolutely nothing else that you can do. Even if you know your password, if you don't have that seed phrase or that private key, because I'm not sure how IOST works, but there usually is two different types of private keys that you can use, and Kyle kind of mentioned it. The seed phrase is one, and then there should be a file that is the actual hash that you could use to back up that wallet. And if you don't have either of those, then you no longer have access to that wallet. That's actually another very important lesson learned that I would probably stress: always back up your wallets.
And while we're on the topic of that was a really good point too. It could have auto saved a wallet to his computer. So maybe you do have access to your wallet some way. Somehow.
True.
Maybe it's stored somewhere in some folder, like you said.
Yeah.
But like, I think those are even encrypted by a password. So if you maybe you can find that, and then maybe if you know the password, you can get in. Other than that, like Clayford said, there's absolutely no way. That's like asking Bitcoin for a refund after you sent a Bitcoin. You just can't get it back unless the user sends it back to you.
Right.
But in this case, your computer is not a user, so it's not going to give it to you.
Now that I think about it, though, I think IOST is an online wallet. Like, were you using their browser wallet? Because I know that they have like a Chrome plugin or something for their wallet. If that's the case, you might be able to find your seed phrase somewhere. Like, usually whenever you create those Chrome plugin wallets, they make you store the wallet first, and like they ask you like a question, like what is the third word in the phrase or whatever, just so that they know you have it backed up somewhere. So maybe you do have it somewhere and you just don't know. Hopefully you do. I would hate for you to lose all of your funds. That would really suck.
Yeah, it's a really good point. A lot of those, there's a lot of fail safes nowadays that are built into these wallets, like you said. And although it could be really annoying, it prevents people from losing their seed phrases or their wallet. This is probably very unlikely. I'm not a computer wizard or anything, but they probably don't store the cache. I was thinking maybe maybe if there's a flaw in the wallet and they somehow stored the seed phrase in your browser cache or something like that, maybe you can recover it if you contact a smart person. But I doubt that is a thing, because these cryptographers who design these wallets are very smart.
But yeah, I don't
it's
think...
kind of like a Hail Mary right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it's not a browser wallet, check your what is it called? What is that folder called? That is it? Crap. Where does the Bitcoin private key get stored? It's
the bat file.
I don't know if it's a bat file, but there's app data folder. That's what I'm thinking of. So if you type in to So if you type into your search bar on Windows, um, %, app data, all one word, %, it'll pull up a folder that has every single wallet's private key. With Bitcoin, it's a wallet.dat file, and that's going to be located in the app data folder. So if you pull that up, and you were using a wallet that is stored on your hard drive, then that's where that would be to back up your actual wallet.
Mm. Good questions. It's good because a lot of people they really need to know like this stuff in the beginning, because a lot of people will end up making these mistakes. Like last thing on security, it was really late one night. Like I had like 20,000 tokens of XYZ, and there was supposed to be like an airdrop of another cryptocurrency. Now this is a long time ago. In hindsight, it's really stupid, but I went to the website, which was directly from the one of the administrators of the coin, and the website popped up and it was like enter your private key, and I'm like, oh well, the administrator sent it, and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. I really didn't think twice, and I put my private key into the website,
Oh no.
and I lost all that cryptocurrency, which was around $15,000-$20,000 worth of crypto.
Damn.
Vanished. So don't make the same mistake. Never enter your private key into any website. Like I know my Ether wallet, you can open up your wallet via a private key, and that's fine, but you're just at a much greater risk of getting your funds stolen from malware or something like that. But any other website, I would not do that. Just be very careful. Don't make the same mistake that I did. So that happened a long time ago, like near like the Bitcoin bubble. So that those tokens are worth like nothing today anyways. So I guess I can't be too upset about it because it was just like kind of like a huge lesson learned. Like Chris Dunn would say, it's like every time you make a mistake or you make like a bad trade, it's like paying tuition into the market so you become a better trader, a better security expert, and all this stuff. So that's the way I look at it.
Dude, honestly, like security is probably one of the most fundamental things that you should know if you're going to start trading cryptocurrencies, because
Yeah.
a lot of people just think, oh, it's like, going on a stock market exchange and, trading different stocks. It's not at all. Going on a stock market exchange, like, yeah, somebody could hack into your specific account online, sure, but they're not going to be able to retrieve those funds. Like, how are they going to do that? But with cryptocurrencies, you have to be extra safe because these exchanges that are very centralized, if they hack your accounts there and they send your funds to a wallet of their choice, there's really not much you can do about it. Which kind of leads back to never leave your funds on an exchange.
Unless you're actively trading.
Right, right. But even if you're actively trading, you shouldn't be putting all of your eggs in one basket. Like, you shouldn't be trading a lump sum of all of your money.
Yeah, and I guess to add on to that too, the whole sending of Bitcoin, once you send, if someone accesses your account and they send it to like their Bitcoin address and stuff, it's gone. But like exchanges like Coinbase and Binance, they have whitelist addresses.
True.
Meaning that you put in your own personal wallets into the whitelist form, and the only way someone can send any cryptocurrency is to that specific address. And if they disable it, if they get full access to your account and disable it, exchanges like Coinbase will put a 2-day hold on any withdrawals from your account, things like that. So you're safe from that end too. You'll know by the time someone accesses your account and tries to disable all that stuff. So that's what I recommend as well. Whitelisting, huge deal.
Yeah, it is, dude. That's another great tip. What are some other great tips? Like we talked about how you talked about how your strategy has kind of changed over time due to the changing of the actual market. But Let's get a little bit more technical with it. Like, whenever you were trading initially, like whenever you first got into the market, and you started with like $540, I think it was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so how
Good memory.
Yeah. How did you progress from there? Were you trading altcoins or were you trading on Bitcoin volatility? What were you doing at that point?
Yeah. Yeah, the whole idea of trading back then versus now has completely changed, like you said.
Right.
And I actually started off a little bit before that with like $100, and I made like $30, and then Bitcoin kept going a little bit higher. This was in like 2013. I bought in at like 1100 again. I sold at 1000. I bought in at 1100, and then it crashed to 800. And then I kind of learned how to trade through the 2013 through 2015 bear market. And that was interesting. But altcoins were doing kind of well during that time, even though Bitcoin was seriously hurting.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that $540 or whatever, I started flipping that into like different altcoins. I started learning about different projects on like a website called Bitcoin.talk. There was a whole lot of like talk about privacy, so like monoreal, like privacy transactions, private chats, people creating private operating systems like Windows, like around the cryptocurrencies. Like it was all like privacy based back in the day. And new algorithms, as you probably know, like the X11, X13 algorithms. So
Yep.
like whenever a new coin algorithm came out, that would be like the next hot topic. So I gotta say, I gotta admit, it was really easy to turn that 500 into like 20,000 right in the beginning. Uh, but then obviously Bitcoin started going up from there, started getting into Ethereum.
Yep.
Ethereum in like 2015, 2016, when it was like 50 cents. I had a bucket load of Ethereum. I'm stupid. I would be in a mansion today if I just held on to that and just said, "Hey, I'm done."
Yeah.
But hindsight's always 2020.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, you asked how it's changed. You want some more technical. So I started watching a guy on YouTube called Chris Dunn, and he started teaching not me, but everyone who watched this channel about like learning the different emotions of the market and like what to identify and stuff. And I guess I became like glued to the charts and like the chart patterns and stuff. I started identifying like bullish continuation patterns like ascending triangles, potentially bearish patterns like ascending wedges, where typically it kind of like breaks down and goes down 70% of the time, breaks out 30% of the time. So I started learning those basics, and really it's those basics and being in a bull market that kind of allowed me to just ride the markets all the way up. Um, it wasn't that hard, but it took a lot of willpower just to like hold on to different positions. Like I said, Ethereum, that would have been an amazing position to hold on to.
Oh yeah.
I believe that you did really well with Ethereum.
That was my best
Uh,
investment.
yeah, like I told you before, I got in and out of Ethereum. I didn't ride that whole wave up. I didn't collect that entire percentage. I kind of took little bits and pieces of it on the way up, but that definitely boosted my portfolio. But I got to admit, like the bear market was really hard on me. Like even though I went through the 2013 bear market, like because you once Bitcoin broke out of like 1,200 and hit $20,000, you don't, in your mind you just think it's going to keep going further. Like
Right.
there was so much euphoria.
Oh yeah.
$20,000, no, it wasn't stopping there. No, everyone thought it was going to 25,000, because that's like a quarter of $100,000. So everyone was targeting 25,000, but it ended up crashing right around 20,000. And I still had this like euphoria inside that kept me in the market, and I was losing money every single day, like a lot of money,
Oh yeah.
a lot of money, because when you like Clay,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
back in 2017 at the peak, we were all doing very, very well.
Yeah.
Um, very, very well, like financial freedom. Well, like if you
But
just sold it all, like you were good.
see,
Well,
my I made the mistake of taking most of my money and like at the time, alts were doing so well in 2017 that I just decided to invest in a bunch of altcoins, right?
Mhm.
And I didn't think to and at the time, Bitcoin's dominance was really, really low. It was at a record low.
Mhm.
So in my mind, I was like, this is the trend that is going to continue.
Mhm.
Altcoins are going
I
to
thought so too. I
alt,
thought so too.
altcoins are going to step in and lead the way, and Bitcoin is still going to be number one, but it's not going to be as big anymore. And then eventually, maybe Bitcoin will get replaced. And that was my mentality. So I didn't put a lot of money into Bitcoin back then, and I put a lot of money into alts, and it ended up losing me a lot of money. And that's kind of whenever my mindset changed on that as well. Like I don't know if this is the same for you now, but like I think that it's important to hold just as much Bitcoin as you do altcoins, if not more Bitcoin than altcoins, because once Bitcoin does well, that's whenever altcoins start doing well. And it's
Right.
not vice versa. You can say that the 2017 market happened because of Ethereum and all of the ICOs that Ethereum like took in, but it started with Bitcoin. We started
Mhm.
seeing that trend in Bitcoin rise first because Bitcoin is what brings everybody into the market. You can't buy other things. There's a pair for Bitcoin with everything on any exchange you go on,
Mhm.
but there's not a pair for everything with Ethereum. Um,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Kind of going off of that, like investing in cryptocurrencies back then and even now is obviously really high risk. So to reduce your risk, if you're going to be in the markets, you may as well be in Bitcoin because if Bitcoin's not doing good, like you said, all coins are going to do worse. If Bitcoin is doing good, it's still a potential that Bitcoin is doing better than the altcoins because again, talking about the market dynamics, things are changing with the altcoin space. I also thought the total market cap for altcoins was going to pass Bitcoin. It was so close to passing. Actually, Ethereum by itself was really close to passing at one point,
yeah,
but didn't quite make it. But the market figured out that why do we need a token for healthcare right now?
right.
Like why do we need that? We don't like it's cool to put like healthcare on the blockchain, like put your personal health records on the blockchain. Awesome idea. Why do you need a token for it? Where's the revenue coming from? You know what I mean? You think
Yeah,
these doctors are going to be paying with health token? No, they're not going to be. They're going to be paying with dollars. But you can build the underlying technology around it. It's just a lot of people started figuring this out, and it's like all of a sudden you have a 90 to 99% decrease in all the altcoin uh, prices, and that's where we ended up at the end of 2018. It's just crazy.
yeah. With that also, I think part of it, like part of our decline in early 2018, was the fall of BitConnect. I think a lot of people came into the market thinking that they were going to earn a quick buck with BitConnect and things like that. There were several projects back then, like they were called like uh, Bitcoin,
Yep.
BitConnect, Davercoin, things like that, and like they were all the same thing. They were just a Ponzi scheme to uh, like pump extremely quick, make it look like it was a flourishing market, and then the creators just exit scammed with
Yeah.
absolutely no idea who they were. Um, and like there are certain projects like today that still are scams, and we're still not quite like there yet where we should be as far as education goes, like teaching people stay away from this. Okay, this is actually a decent project. Like I think we have a long way to go for that, but I think as long as like people like yourself and me are like teaching people, hey, don't do this, that's a bad idea, then we're going to continue to see that. But
Right. Yeah, it's like back in the day, it was easy to get caught up in like all these altcoins because first of all, there all these investors, they're not accredited. They didn't go to school for it, so they don't really know. They just see number go up.
Yeah.
They see their friends that made $1,000, and then why can't they make $1,000? They don't care about researching the project, so they just buy in, buy in, buy in. It's like the dot-com bubble. But yeah, BitConnect was crazy too, and I agree. That's definitely some like a critical event that kind of started to shift the direction of Bitcoin into a bear market. I mean, think about not just YouTubers, but like all of like the news sources out there, like Coin Market Cap and all these like CoinDesk. In the beginning, they were talking about BitConnect, and they had BitConnect referral links in there.
Yep.
So it was more of an incentive for them to even talk about it. Then I started seeing people that I know who had no clue about Bitcoin asking me legitimately, and this was happening. I hear this new BitConnect is the new Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I heard the
And
same thing, bro.
it's hard to listen to that because you don't want to call them an idiot because they're not stupid. They're just caught up in the hype because of the mass media out there that's pushing it on them.
Well, they have no idea what Bitcoin even is, and
No, no.
they're asking about something that they have no clue about. And it is unfortunate because you had people online telling others that they were going to make money. And so they heard that and they saw all these like reviews of people that were making hand over fist in cash every day. They were like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I reinvested today and made another $1,000 today. It's like, yeah, that's cool. But when is the bottom going to fall out? And I was
Yeah.
saying that from the get go, man. Like I was saying, what happens whenever people stop joining? Like what happens whenever the onboarding stops and there's
Yeah.
nobody left to put money in?
You eventually, I'm not going to call the people stupid. You eventually run out of uneducated investors.
Yeah.
Or in other words, you eventually run out of stupid people, and then the smart people go, what the hell are you doing? And then it flops.
Yep.
There's always that point in any Ponzi scheme where that happens, and that's where the collapse usually comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Have you done any research on Hex?
No, I haven't wasted my time with that.
Well,
So I just know that Richard Hart created it, and he's collecting Ethereum, and he's just profiting like hell off of it right now. But like I said, I haven't even looked at a chart.
you don't
Uh,
need to. You don't need to,
yeah,
though. Like, that's the
yeah,
thing. You're so intelligent about investments that you know it's not right for you. Um,
yeah. You
and
never promise someone a return. Like
right.
that's the first red flag in anything. You can't promise people returns.
and
So
and that's the thing, like they use this gray area of saying, well, we're not promising a return in US dollars, we're saying that you're going to make XYZ on Hex by staking it in this smart contract. Well, yeah, you're not promising US dollar value, but you're still promising something that could be worth a lot less later on.
right,
um,
right.
and
Yeah, you could 10x your initial investment by staking in hex tokens. But if the hex token is worth 90% less, then what's the point?
Right, and
Yeah.
that's what I think we're gonna see, man. I think the people that initially staked with it, like all the huge bag holders that get done with their initial staking contracts, are just gonna dump them on the market. All of their extra hex tokens that they just got.
Is there even liquidity to dump into?
Not really, no.
Yeah.
So
How many people would even put money on the books?
yeah,
The
um,
people who have the tokens who think that they can get it for cheaper than actually staking it for. Right.
right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're gonna see, man. It's really unfortunate, and I've never been a big fan of Richard Hart to begin with. Like, I remember whenever he came onto the scene in 2017, whenever we had all of these, crypto professionals that were just smarter than everybody else. I remember whenever he came onto the scene, and then like he tried to claim that he had been in the blockchain space for years, and it was like, nah, no.
Yeah.
We remember.
He's one of those really smart, manipulative type persons
Yeah.
who can really get into people's heads. Like he's that type of person where you can look in the sky and be like, the sky is blue, and he'll be like, but wait, is it? And then he'll give you this whole theory on why it's not blue, and then all of a sudden you're wrong.
Yeah.
That he is that type of person. I agree. Just even watching him for the first time, I got that like condescending, manipulative type attitude. But I honestly didn't think he would go this far with Hex.
Me neither.
Blows my mind. Like, he's a smart guy. Obviously, he's a really smart dude. He knows his stuff.
He's an extremely good manipulator.
Yeah.
And like, I would go even as far as to say that he's a charlatan. Like, he made it. His appearance is like, if you take a look at any of his original videos, like, he was wearing like a crown and fucking had a cane. Just made his appearance like look like he was this incredibly wealthy guy. And like, his original videos, I remember watching one of his first videos, like talking about how video gaming was like an abomination. Like, it was, if you're a video gamer, then you're just a lazy piece of crap, right? And yeah, and like, basically, like, just calling out all video gamers, like saying they're all the same, right? Like, after that, I had this like idea in my head. Okay, this guy is literally just looking for views, right? Because anybody that hates video games is going to agree with this, right?
Yeah.
So all those wives out there that hate their husbands that play video games can be like, hey, look at this video on my phone real quick. But I just knew from that point on, like, anything that came out of his lips was just going to be BS. And
he would be really good in politics.
Oh, absolutely.
He could BS his way through any debate.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah.
He's that type.
Oh, dude. He did a debate with Chris Duros. I don't know if you know who that is.
Yeah.
And like, Chris Duros obviously can hold his own. But the things that Richard Hart was saying in that debate, like, critically thinking, I could see why people would agree with him. And man, I could go on about Richard Hart.
It's manipulation.
Yeah.
It's manipulation.
Yep.
You don't think you can be manipulated, but you can. You just gotta, you can be manipulated, but if you ever get like a sense that something might not be right, just once you're done with the conversation, think about it on your own and just give it another thought.
Exactly. So I tweeted out earlier about Hex, and like, I called it a scam on Twitter. And I like posted his handle in the tweet. I haven't heard anything back from him yet, but it, like, the way that I described it basically was that it's technically a savings account that could lose you money.
Awesome.
Like, because you're putting money in expecting for to get some sort of return, right? Just like a savings account. But in a normal savings account, you put your US dollars into a bank and you say, okay, I'm going to get 0.1%, this measly 0.1% back at the end of the year, right? But with this savings account, you have the potential to lose everything.
Right. What's his guaranteed stake payout right now?
It depends on. So that's the kicker, man. That's the real kicker. The longer you stake, the more you make.
All right.
Exactly. Think about that for a second.
Does it end? Like, you said that there was a contract, right? Like,
So the longest contract you can take is 5,000 days, I believe. Something like that.
5,000 days.
Yes, dude.
And it'll just keep going up till the end of the 5,000th day.
Yep.
How can people not understand how that's going to end in a really bad way?
Yeah, think about the inflation on that. Like, all of the people that are putting in initially, Like they're not even thinking about the economics behind it.
Yeah.
The inflation is ridiculous. So basically the smart contract is saying, okay, if you put in this much and you put it in for this long, like the longest amount possible, then you're going to get a ridiculous return. There's going to be a big payout after so many days. And it's just going to keep multiplying. You're going to get more and more coins, more and more hex coins. Well,
Oh, this sounds good. Hey, is there a referral link?
I think there is, dude.
Of course there is.
Yeah. Yeah. It just blows my mind. And like one of my viewers gave me some hex to, and I said, hey, thank you, I appreciate that. I was actually thinking about doing a review on hex anyways. They sent me like $40 worth of hex, I think. And after like a week of studying it and seeing exactly what it was, I decided to sell that. So if that viewer is watching right now, or if he views this later, I will send you back whatever you sent me in ETH. I won't send you hex back, bro. But if you send me your ETH wallet, I will send that back to you. But I just can't bring it in my heart to send you more hex. It just doesn't seem right to me. It doesn't sit well with me.
Dang. He just used you as a short.
Yeah.
He'll take your ETH that you give him back, and if hex is below what he sent it, he can just buy back all of his hex.
Yeah. I mean,
And then he'll send you another $40 in hex. You just keep it going.
Yeah, because the price,
Because it doesn't make any sense.
yeah, the price has been falling. Like since the middle of May, the price has just been falling.
Right.
I think it reached like an all-time high in the middle of May, and ever since then it's just been falling. And I think that's because the original contract holders are starting to sell their positions.
Right.
Like they might have put in for like 6 months, right, for their initial contract, like for staking. Here's another point that I'd like to make about that. If you have to take out that money in hex for any reason, like if you have to break the contract, you don't even get back what you initially put in. Like there's a huge fee on stopping your staking contract. So let's say you have an emergency or something.
There you go. That's extremely important to know about that.
Yeah.
That's how the pyramid scheme keeps on going.
Exactly.
That fee.
If you have to pull your money out for any reason at all, like let's say one of your parents passes away or something and they don't have any money and you need to pay for a funeral service, then you don't have, like, you don't get as much back as you put into it.
That's the whole purpose of crypto, is like, if you have the keys, they're your coins.
Right.
Like, man, that is just, that's what keeps it going right there.
Yeah.
Because that makes it so there's less supply on the market.
Yep.
And then
but I want to know where that money goes though. Like, does it go to Richard's pocket? Like, where does that fee go?
Oh, I'm surprised he doesn't put like a buy wall to keep the market propped up.
Yeah.
Because if he keeps the market propped up, it's like marketing within itself.
Yeah.
People will be like, oh, wow, so the market's stable. When it's really just Richard using the contract money from Ethereum, just propping up the market.
That could be it, man. I don't know.
But he's probably paying himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's unfortunate, man. But the moral of the story, guys, don't buy hex. Don't buy hex. There are a few other things that I'll probably discuss in another video as far as like avoiding scams in the crypto market, because there are so many out there, and people just get smarter. Like scammers just get smarter each year. But I'll probably make like a separate video just talking about that and how to protect yourself in 2020.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I'm not really familiar with any scams ongoing right now besides Hex. So that's good. That's an improvement,
Yeah.
because before I could say there was a lot of things going on, even with Twitter, with like all the bot accounts that were
Yep.
spamming the Ethereum links
Yeah.
with verified accounts, which
Yeah.
is crazy. But I don't see that anymore. Maybe I've seen it within the last month, but not as much as I used to.
I
So that's good.
every video I put out on YouTube, they're like YouTube always flags like 3 to 5 people like
Mm.
posting like uh this incredible investor taught me how to trade.
Oh,
Email them at this.
Mr. Ben. Mr. Ben made me $10,000 when I was broke and living in a cardboard box. You can do it too.
Yeah.
And then all the spam accounts. Really? Mr. Ben?
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yep.
I know exactly what you're talking about, because people don't know.
Yeah.
There are so many bots on YouTube. So like the people who don't have a YouTube channel will never know, but there is so much crap and spam and junk all out there. But we put out filters, so like block links, block Mr. Ben, uh, Bitcoin billionaire. Like, who's talking about Bitcoin billionaires? No one. Or Bitcoin trillionaires. It's all
Yeah.
scamming. Yeah.
So Murray asked, "Don't buy Hex, buy Harmony." I'm not. So I definitely think Harmony is undervalued, and like Kyle and I have talked about this project quite a bit over the past week.
That's where I set up my validator, but it's off now.
Yeah, mine is off for now too until like they figure something out. I don't want to endorse Harmony just yet. Obviously, I'm invested in Harmony now, and Kyle is a little bit too. But I want to wait to see what happens with decentralization, because there's a huge debate going on right now between all the validators on that blockchain. I think it's an incredible project. It's the first to actually have fast, low transactions that allows scalability.
And that's true. Those transactions are really fast.
Super
Because I
fast.
tried it out for myself. I have never had a blockchain that was faster.
No,
And
dude.
I'm not okay. I have like barely any one. I hold it like a little bit, because I agree with Clayford. There's some not scaling, but like decentralization dilemma going on right now.
Right.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Dude, but if you were to go to the grocery store and you were to want to purchase groceries with one right now, you would be able to do that. You would be able to go to the grocery store, pick out your groceries, go to the counter, pay for it, and literally only have to wait like 10 seconds for that payment to go through. It's incredible. It's the fastest blockchain I've ever used.
Because of sharding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Sharding is like it's foreign. It's foreign to a lot of people. Like once you introduced me to Harmony, I had to I heard about sharding in the past, but it's just parallel computing essentially.
Yep. That's exactly what it is.
It just like take 4 computers, you give it a math problem, they all do it, they all do a little piece of it, and they send the answer. That's just what sharding is. Like, instead of everyone holding the entire blockchain on one validator, one node, they get a piece of it. And then, because there's so many people in the world, Harmony has 4 validators right now. Right?
No. Harmony has 1,000 validators at the moment.
Oh, they have 1,000. I'm sorry, 1,000 shards, 4 shards.
Yes.
Okay, so there's 1,000 different validators out there, but there's 4 pieces of the code that's spread amongst all of these validators. And once a transaction's sent, like, it goes through the different shards in parallel, and then boom. Well, it just speeds up the transaction, right?
Kind of. So the way it works is a shard gets selected at random, and that specific shard is what computes that specific block. So each block is solved by a different shard. There are validators on each separate shard. So I think there are 1,000 validators right now, 250 on each shard, right? And there are seats that you have to get elected into to become a validator on each specific shard. Once that transaction goes to the network, that specific shard that gets selected has to actually allow that transaction to occur by finding that specific block. And then I think shard 0 is the base network. Shard 0 has to compute what that other shard, like shard 0 has to validate what that other shard computed as well, to make sure that it's correct. And that's why it's so fast, because you basically, the way I like to think about it is you have a bunch of blockchains built on a single blockchain. So, and they're very small blockchains, right? The one that the small blockchains are the ones that are built on this giant, massive blockchain. That's the way I like to think about it. Like you have each small blockchain that is solving the blocks for the entire network, but then it gets broadcasted to the big blockchain.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I guess it's a little different than I imagined how it worked. So that just brings up more questions, but I'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Like why wouldn't they just have one blockchain then? If it's like where's the fractional computing coming from, I guess.
So there are different
Like
validators on each shard. Like
right.
you have people from all over the world on separate shards. And I think that's the fractional computing. Instead of everybody hashing on this one giant network, it's small networks making up.
Oh, right. Because so each shard, all the shards have to come in consensus with its like kind shard, and at the same time, that's what makes the consensus a lot quicker because
Right.
there's less shards.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if you have a network of a million nodes and it's all on one network, every single one of those nodes has to come to consensus, and there's a lot of lag throughout the world. Like some people are using satellite internet, some people are using dial-up internet, some people are using gigablast, which is what I'm using. So those people that like have gigablast internet are going to be able to send a response to the network extremely fast, but those that are on dial-up, you're going to have to wait on them to reach that consensus. Whereas if you have shards with like a smaller number of validators, you only have to wait on that specific number of validators.
Right. And that's part of the issue with the whole big block thing, right? You can't have like the block size right now is 1.5 megabytes with SegWit, right?
Yeah.
So like that is not a lot of data for you and me, but people who are out like in Africa who run on satellite internet who only get, a megabit down, that could be a lot for them. So if you make blocks too big, they can't even sync with the chain.
Yeah.
So then they're kind of left down. That doesn't really help with decentralization.
Kev T asks, thoughts on when next bull run will commence, or will there not be another bull run like 2017?
Oh, the bull run's coming. It's coming.
I agree.
I feel it. This is my take. I don't know if you wanted to go first.
Go ahead, man.
All right. Well, I don't have a chart in front of me, but right now we're kind of like in this neutral zone. We're hanging out between like 9,200 and I guess we can say like 10,300. So we're in this zone right now, and there's not really a trade. You could draw a triangle, an ascending triangle. You can draw a wedge. It just depends how you're looking at the market. You can kind of erase that little blip that we just had and pretend like that didn't exist and continue with like an ascending triangle. But if we get like a weekly close above 10,500, I'm looking for an immediate target of 14,000. Immediate target. And if we have enough momentum, if we just keep going, kind of like how we came out of the 2018 bear market, or how we came out of the 2018 bear market and we thought we were going to stop at 6,000, We just kept going.
Yeah.
We literally just kept going. Like, people thought we were going to find resistance at 6,000 because when it came down, it was supported at 6,000 for so long. So support turned resistance. No, that didn't happen. It just blew right through it, and we went all the way up to like 13,000. So
Yep.
it's all about momentum. If we have a lot of momentum, if we get a good breakout to 14,000, the faster we get there, the better, because that will just bring a ton of people in, and we could potentially be breaking all-time highs by way before the end of the year. That's like the ultimate bull case. The intermediary bull case is if we break 10,500, we go up to 14,000, we have a retracement down to like 10,500 again. Make sure we retest that previous resistance, turn support, and then we can make our way back up. That's kind of like a safer way to go up. So that's kind of what I'm seeing. But the other cases, and I think all cases kind of are bullish, and that's why I said I'm very, very bullish. If we kind of just start curving down from here, we start breaking down to around the 8,000, maybe like $7,500 area, we can continue that coil that we've been seeing over the past 2 years, which is crazy. It's crazy to think we've been in this like trend for 2 years now, this big consolidation pattern.
Yeah.
And then eventually towards the end of the year, maybe in the beginning of the year, we can break out and then just full send it all the way up to all-time highs again.
So I'm actually really glad that you were like my co-host, like for that question, because you can bring a technical perspective, whereas I'm very much a fundamentalist. For me, like, I like to take a look at like past. Obviously, I like to look at the history, and then I also like to look at the news. For me, if you take a look at the history of Bitcoin, every time there's a halving, usually within the first 18 months after the halving, we start to see growth in the price. And so that's what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to reach a new all-time high within the next 18 months. And that kind of coincides with a lot of news right now with Bitcoin. I was listening to a podcast earlier today about how the CEO of Coinbase, Armstrong, what's his first name? Brian Armstrong. Yeah, thank you. Was having secret meetings with the CEO of JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, all the way dating back to 2018 up to now. And JP Morgan Chase is now allowing its users to purchase cryptocurrencies on both Coinbase and Gemini. That is a very bullish sign to me. Before we had this narrative that Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan Chase were never going to touch cryptocurrency. They were going to keep out of the market. They thought it was a scam. Now the tide is kind of shifting, and we're seeing them go all into cryptocurrencies. Like, we're starting to see some of their analysts over at JP Morgan Chase say that Bitcoin is very undervalued at the moment. So things are really, really changing in that market. And if we start having like large banks and capital investors come into the market, then we're going to see an exponential boom in this space. And I don't think that's happened yet. I don't think we're there yet. A lot of people are saying that capital investors are already in here, but really the only one we've seen so far is Barry, what's his name?
Silbert?
Yeah, Barry Silbert's firm.
Yeah.
That's the only one we've really seen so far, and they're purchasing up. That's another case to be made. They're purchasing up. They've literally purchased more Bitcoin than has been mined in the past 2 weeks. So
that's insane,
isn't it? Like, think about that.
That just shows you how scarce it is.
Yep.
imagine saying that about the US dollar. A company has acquired, why would they acquire dollars? But Amazon has acquired more money, trillions of dollars over the past 2 weeks. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't
Yeah.
compute. How can one guy from where is he? What firm does he work for?
Barry Silbert.
Yeah, what is it like?
Grayscale.
Grayscale.
Yep.
Yeah. How can one guy be doing that? It just shows the scarcity of Bitcoin.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
just proves a point. Yeah. And I think Jamie Dimon was a fan of Bitcoin before he started shitting on it.
Oh yeah.
Because didn't he, like, the first public announcement of him, like during like a conference, he was just like sitting back. He's like, yeah, it's a scam. And then the market crashed, and then his analysts, like they or whoever with his firm, bought up a whole bunch of Bitcoin, like 6,000 Bitcoin, because they had to make it public or something like that.
Oh, I didn't even hear anything about
Yeah,
that.
that was like years ago. That was like probably like 2.5 years ago now. So I think these guys know what's coming, and they're just being very strategic with it, allowing Bitcoin to build a nice solid base, which it's obviously building a really nice base right now. I mean, relatively, like if we go to 100K, we're going to be looking at our fluctuations in prices like they're ants, like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Just like how we look like back when we were first getting into Bitcoin, $1,000 for a Bitcoin was insane.
Was huge.
$1,200 when it was breaking the all-time high was like, whoa, that's so expensive.
Yeah.
And now you look back on that, it's like a little tiny blip in history.
Yeah. No, I remember telling my buddies about it, like in the Air Force. I remember like going to my squadron every day, and like people would make fun of me. Like they were like, that's that Bitcoin guy. Or like,
I feel like everyone has the same story about that. I was getting shit on too.
Yeah. Or like, some people would ask me about it, and some people were genuinely curious, and they were like, so what do you think right now? Like, it seems like Bitcoin is really high at this point. And like I had to tell them, like, look, I don't think it's overvalued. Like, I think it has a lot of utility that most of the world hasn't seen yet. And if you think that Bitcoin is too high, here's another alternative, Ethereum. Back then, like it was Ethereum was the new guy on the block, and it was like really, really early on. Nobody really knew anything about it, but I read the white paper and I immediately thought to myself, man, this could be huge, because a decentralized computer that the entire world can connect to and run smart contracts and decentralized applications, that's impressive.
Sounds futuristic.
Yeah, it does. It does. And it did at that time. Like, it blew my mind. And I was wondering, like, why is nobody talking about this? And my buddies that I got to purchase Ethereum at that time made a good profit.
That's awesome. I love stories like that too, where you can actually help someone make a profit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Kev said, thanks guys, appreciate your opinion. Sounds like it's bull run game on. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is, man. Get ready.
Yeah.
The crypto storm is coming.
Yeah, I think so too, man.
Almost knocked over my trash can. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make all my money back that I lost.
Dude. Same. The past 2 years have been rough, but I think our patience is about to pay off. We might have to be patient for a little while longer, but
just when you think you've waited long enough, you have to wait longer.
Yeah.
Which is probably why it's gonna just bend over from here and just consolidate for another 6 months. So
yeah, it could.
So the more I say it's gonna break out, more likely it's just gonna go sideways and coil up like a snake. But the breakout will be even sweeter. Yes,
it will be. And that's another point that I want to make. If you go back and look at the charts from the past two halvings, it definitely did go down for a while before there was a new all-time high, but there always has been a new all-time high after a halving. So
Mm-hmm.
Keep that in
That's
mind.
why. Oh, it's reversed, but if you can make it out, it says buy the F and dip.
Uh,
Wait.
it's not reversed, bro.
Oh, it's not reversed? It's
No.
reversed for me.
What?
Yeah, so if Bitcoin goes down, buy the F and dip
Heck yeah. Um,
because you don't want to buy the top. And then, like, right now, like, it's pretty risky to buy right now, even if it breaks out again. Obviously, we saw that breakout of 10,000 and then it just boop, it folded right back over. So
what do you think that was, man? Because I have an idea of what that was, but I want to hear your opinion.
I think it was just people getting anxious and they're wanting to clear out the books and mess up all the shorts and longs. Uh, it could have just been someone who is just over anxious and just wanted it to break out, some whale, someone wanting to get in. Maybe they've been waiting to get in and they're so anxious to get in, they figured like, hey, now's the time. It's more likely that it's going to break out than go down, and they bought in or whatever. It could have been a million different things. It could have been one person. It could have been multiple people. It could have been really smart people just clearing out the books because all of the shorts and longs, I believe most people were long. It was like a 75-25 ratio. So
Yeah.
what do you think?
Well, I'm just gonna put my tinfoil hat on here real quick.
Okay.
Um, so I was reading this article the other day about how every single time in the past like 6 months that Bitcoin has dipped like that, where it's been just a huge sell off in a matter of minutes, it's always been at the open of the stock market.
Hmm.
And so that had me thinking, like, what could that mean? Well, what if that means that it is an investment group that is taking profits on every single time they reach a new high? And what if that said investment group is the reason that there is a new high in the market? Like, what if they're the ones driving up the price just to reach their target and then selling immediately back into the market only to buy at a lower price? And
I don't think that's a tinfoil hat at all. I think like as time has gone on in this space, the market dynamics have been getting more complex, and I would actually bet my life on that idea. Like at least one firm did that,
yeah,
and that makes sense to me. Um, Obviously, we had this whole coronavirus stock market Bitcoin sell off, and the fact that it recovered so quickly in Bitcoin. I'm not talking about the stock market. That could have recovered for different reasons, but the fact that Bitcoin recovered so quickly just tells me that people believe in Bitcoin, and it
yeah,
was just a lot of people who are freaked out that sold off. And the fact that we're all the way up at $10,000 again is quite incredible. It just shows you how many bulls are in the market and how bad people want this to go to all time highs again.
for
And it's
sure.
just it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I remember thinking exactly like this when we were at $400.
Oh yeah,
It's just a matter of time. Whether it's 6 months from now, whether it's tomorrow, who knows?
yeah.
We'll see.
I think that the people are smart enough to get in now are going to be wealthy people eventually.
Yeah, but we should also talk about crypto is not the only way to make money. I
Absolutely.
mean, you could use different change like Tezos. Like you and I, we both stake our Tezos,
Yep.
and that generates passive income. I don't know
Yep.
if you wanted to talk about that.
Sure. So I've been in Taizos since the ICO. I have one of the founders' wallets. It's actually, I think, in a few years now, that's going to be a proud achievement of mine. I think I'll be
Mm.
able to say like, yeah, I was one of the first, and it's going to be one of those things like with Ethereum. Like I was one of the initial investors with Ethereum. Um, I think in a few years from now, Tezos is going to take that place that Ethereum currently has for me, as being
Mm-hmm.
my best investment,
Right. Right.
because there's no other blockchain like it. You take a look at the protocol itself, and the idea of having a self-amending blockchain is just brilliant in my eyes.
Yeah, it's really cool.
anybody.
It's what the government should be using.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Different, like for voting as an example, they could do blockchain voting, so people can vote from home, put in their social security number, and vote from home.
Yeah.
There's no
Um,
hacking it.
and that's basically the beauty of Tezos, like having a blockchain that investors can vote on new protocols with,
Mm-hmm.
like, and the more stake you have, the more voting power you have, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the more, obviously, the more invested you are, the more your vote actually counts, and that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense to me. That's capitalism, and it's actually this. It's almost like democracy and capitalism combined to
Mm-hmm.
create a
Yeah.
blockchain, um,
Right.
and I just think it's perfect the way it's set up, and the fact that I can make passive income, like essentially dividends off of it, even better.
Yeah, it's really cool. So like the dividend percentage right now is around 6%. If you're a baker, you can collect the full reward.
Yep.
But if you delegate to a baker, because not everyone has enough Tezos tokens to create their own baker, you need 10,000 right now. Oh, it's 8,000 now,
8,000.
because the whole self-amending governance voted on a proposal which lowered the amount of Tezos it took to become a baker, which is just an example of how things went through. Like, it went through like a testing phase, the whole proposal testing, blah blah blah, and eventually went to mainnet, which is awesome. I don't think Bitcoin doesn't do that.
No.
You need full agreement on the nodes and stuff, so it's a lot more complex. But Tezos is great. But yeah, you earn about 6% a year just from staking your tokens or delegating your tokens to a validator, essentially a baker, and you just earn a passive income, which is great. So you not only do you get the benefit of that dividend, but if Tezos goes up in value too, you'll also benefit from the underlying asset being more valuable. So if you wanted to sell at a later time, you're obviously going to make a good amount of money that way too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's really cool.
I
It's a lot
I
of cool stuff.
I still think Tezos is incredibly undervalued. Like, the utility behind it is great. I
Yeah, I mean, we know Ethereum 2.0 is coming out. They're going to have the whole sharding and staking thing. But just looking at like the top 10 currencies right now, Tezos, so Cardano actually passed Tezos.
Yeah, I
So
saw
Tezos is
that.
number 11. Cardano, I'm not even sure if they have mainnet yet. Do they?
They don't, and it blows my
Okay.
mind that it's in the top 10. How is it that we're in the year 2020? We've been in this blockchain space for 11 years now, and we don't know the difference between an active blockchain and vaporware. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Cardano is vaporware. I'm not trying to say that at all, but it it doesn't even have a working product yet, and people are
Mm-hmm.
trading it like it's the greatest invention that has ever
Mm-hmm.
happened. Like, I think it's up like 50% this month.
Charles Hodgkinson's, I think is his name. He's the
Hoskinson.
Hoskins. Yeah, he he's he's one of the original people from Ethereum, right? And then
Yes, yes, he was one
so
of the co-creators.
obviously that has a lot of value. So when he created Cardano, he's really good at talking.
Yeah.
Good at making really solid promises. So people just believe in that vision. But yeah, Tezos is number 11 right now. The market cap is 2 billion, which sounds like a lot, but it's really not. I think the reason why it's 2 billion is because most of the tokens are being baked and delegated right now. Like over 70% of the tokens are.
Yeah.
So a lot of that is really never going to touch the order books. Uh, and then you have Ethereum, which is at about 27 billion. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And obviously marketing is huge. Ethereum came before Tezos, so you're going to see Ethereum above Tezos and Bitcoin above Ethereum, because Bitcoin was the first blockchain, even though it's not nearly as advanced as some of these altcoins. But it just shows you the potential growth that you could have and right now it's around $3 a coin, $3 a Tezos right now. So it has a lot of potential to grow. If Bitcoin does its breakout, it's going to bring up the whole market cap. It's going to bring in so many new investors into the space, and I think a lot of people are going to start understanding that that some cryptocurrencies like Tezos have a lot more utility over others. So I'm very, very bullish on Tezos. I do hold Tezos. I bake it. Uh, and yeah, I think it has a lot going for it, especially with all these securities that are being written as smart contracts onto the chain, creating assets on top of the chain. It's really cool stuff. I can't wait to own a piece of real estate or a piece of Miami hotel real estate. Obviously not a good investment right now, but in the future it'll be a better investment. But like earning a dividend from the income from that hotel property.
Oh, dude,
it's such a cool idea. Imagine owning a piece of like a hotel in Los Angeles, a piece of this, a piece of that, and just having like a collection of dividend creating assets.
Yeah,
it's so cool. It's the future.
yeah. I mean, that's already technically a concept of like owning a piece.
Right, the REITs, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it'd be much easier on a blockchain because it's just so easy to store that information.
The liquidity is going to be much higher.
Yeah.
I personally believe.
Yeah.
It won't be as high as cryptocurrencies because I'm sure with these tokens, there's probably going to be some like holding period after you purchase it because of whatever legal reasons. But
yeah.
Yeah, it just has a really cool future ahead of it. I'm really excited for Tezos. It's going to be great.
Me too. And like moving forward, I could see Tezos like reaching like $20 a coin. I know you had higher expectations for it, but I definitely think that we'll see $20 in the next 5 years.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah. But if you can just imagine, like, if it's $3 right now and you purchase, $3,000 worth, you get 1,000 Tezos. If that does reach $20 and you're earning 6% on that every single year, that's going to be an incredible return on your investment.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's an alternative to, obviously, investing in any cryptocurrency is a risk, but if you have dollars in your account that's just sitting there, that's being inflated because of the stimulus checks and the whole economy going south right now, it's almost like a no-brainer to invest in some of these cryptocurrencies as like a safe haven.
Yeah,
even though they're volatile, but you really just need to think longer term. But I mean, granted, the stock market has also been recovering very well. Which is weird.
I'd like to talk more about that actually.
Sure, I want to know your take on why.
So I know exactly why. It's all propped up money. It's all fake money that the Federal Reserve has been printing out of thin air to balance the books of corporations that have made silly business decisions over the past 10 years. Ever since the 2008 housing market collapsed, the federal government has been bailing out these companies that have just continuously made bad decisions, and they've been overpaying their CEOs. They've been buying stocks back. So all these buybacks that these companies have been doing to inflate their income, so they can report that with these buybacks, they can report that as income. So they take the money that the federal government has given them as bailout money and buy some of their stock back, and they can report that as income. It's literally fake money coming out of thin air.
For lack of better terms, it's a pump and dump scheme.
Yeah.
What do they call it? Quantitative easing or something, where the government buys back something. They buy back a bunch of securities and then inflation. And,
They like to throw that word out there, quantitative easing, to like basically make people believe that everything is going to be okay because the people they think are too dumb to understand what they're saying. Um, and it's really unfortunate what's happening. The economy is in a terrible place, and the stock market just keeps going up. But I don't think that's going to be the case for much longer. I
So
think
you essentially think that the QE that they're doing right now, they're eventually going to have to stop. And then the people who are being suckered into buying these highs right now, they're going to end up crashing the market again.
absolutely.
So you think we're going to have fall back down to what levels do you see? Like,
Uh, I think this is going to be pre 2008.
okay, yeah, yeah, I
Um,
can see that happening for sure.
I think this is going to be worse, a lot worse than the 2008 housing market collapse because even then, we didn't have nearly the job loss that we have today. We have almost 40 million people unemployed right now here in the United States. That is record levels since the Great Depression. We haven't seen anything like that since the 1930s. So
Yeah,
um, it it just blows my mind that people aren't waking up to this. Like I put out a video a couple of weeks ago about how I thought this recession was going to be bad,
mm-hmm.
and um, I basically was stating like if you have money in stocks right now would be a great time to sell potentially. Um, like the stock market might go up more from here, but that's only because the Federal Reserve keeps printing more money. But eventually, they have to stop because it will cause hyperinflation to the US dollar.
Yeah,
And with that, it'll make the US dollar completely worthless. If you take a look at the price of the US dollar, it's actually 2 pennies. It's literally 2 pennies compared to what it was in 1903.
right. Yeah, and thinking a little bit ahead of time too. I think people are becoming complacent with the coronavirus, and a lot of people are going to end up just thinking that it's gone,
Yeah,
or they're just going to get used to the fact that it's around. But there's without a doubt in my mind now, I'm not an epidemiologist or anything like that. I'm no expert, but from what I've read and from what I've seen online, the coronavirus is going to come back. So you have a lot of people still with like, even if they have cash on hand, they're still not going to want to spend it. So if they're not going to want to spend it, then how is that going to, reflect on the economy? You still have
right.
the Fed that's buying a whole bunch of these securities to prop up the markets, but um, eventually, like you said, they're going to have to stop, and then people are still not going to have the motive to just spend their money, even with the low interest rates. So you're kind of getting into a really bad situation, and then all of a sudden the stock market has to crash because people need to get out, because if you don't get out, then you're going to be screwed. So yeah, I could see that happening just based on the future outlook. Because I honestly don't think we're going to have a vaccine for another year. And
Yeah.
even if we do have a vaccine, they can't manufacture it,
No.
enough of it. So it's a game theory problem. It's going to be a tough one to kind of see play out.
So even worse, like yeah, COVID-19 has had a huge damper on our economy. But even worse, now we have these riots going on all over the
Yeah.
US. Who pays for that? Who pays for the reconstruction of all of these cities that have burned? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be the everyday citizen that has to pay for that because um, you might be able to say that's good for the economy because we have to pay for all of these workers that will go out and rebuild these cities, but at the same time it's going to reflect on our insurance premiums because it's insurance that is going to be paying for all of that. Well, what happens if insurance agencies have to pay out a bunch of claims? It
Mm-hmm.
makes insurance premiums go up. And so
Right.
everybody in the United States is going to have to pay for that. And
Right.
what is that going to do if we already have a very high unemployment rate? Well, it's just
Mm.
going to make unemployment go up.
Yeah, and also a lot of these small businesses that were were raided and whatever. Even larger businesses like Target, like in Minneapolis. And I'm not getting political on that side of things. I'm just talking about the business side of things.
Right.
They're not going to want to come back. Like these small businesses won't be able to come back. Some of them just won't be able to come back. But even if they could, they're not going to want to. Commercial real estate is going to drop in price over there, and it's going to change around the economy a bit. Like the coronavirus and the riots. Just listening to actually one of Chris Dunn's podcasts, they were talking about how people are going to be wanting to move out of the cities and into more rural areas because why would you pay $3,000 to $4,000 a month in Manhattan when you can have a beautiful home in upstate New York or Connecticut, work remotely, because that's now becoming a thing. So I think that's going to change things up a little bit, and who knows what kind of unintended consequences that will have to the economy too, because there's a lot of real estate in inner cities. So
Kev says Chainlink is also going to fly, especially once staking comes out. I don't know enough about Chainlink to comment on it. Kyle, I don't know if you know anything about
I was actually
Chainlink.
going to research in one of my meetings yesterday. We were talking about Chainlink and how it's kind of like correlated to Tezos, especially on Coinbase Pro. Not the actual price, but like whenever like Chainlink has a move, you typically see like Tezos have a move. So it's sort of correlated. But I have to look more into it, because being in New York State, I can't buy or sell Tezos on Coinbase Pro. I have to go to like these foreign exchanges. Unfortunately, I can't take advantage of Tezos on Coinbase Pro, but I can take advantage of Link. Link is available for me. So it's one of those I have to look into.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually really excited whenever you approached me about Taizos, because I was just happy to be a part of that. Like whenever you asked, I don't even remember how it went down. I don't know if I told you about it or you came to me asking about it.
I think I posted on Twitter, because I'm always pissed off and post on Twitter. I'm like, yeah, F New York, F Coinbase. I said something along the lines of, I can't buy Tezos in New York still. It's been like over a year since it's come out in New York State. Or it's been over a year since it's come out on Coinbase. Why can't I buy it, or something like that? And I think maybe you comment and were like, why can't you buy it? And then we started chatting about it or something.
Yeah, that was really cool. Honestly, that'll probably be like one of my favorite moments in crypto, like being able to reflect on that transaction. Like, because before that, I don't think I ever bought crypto for anybody. That was like a first, and it was actually the last time. But really, that was really cool. But yeah,
paid my tax on it too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All of those transactions are reflected on the tax forms and everything. So that's the thing when you do like the peer-to-peer, you got to be careful. You got to make sure you have your tax history. That's why, or the transaction history. That's why I had you send me like the transaction list.
Yeah.
So I could report it and stuff.
For sure.
Yeah, it was an interesting experience.
Yeah.
I was stuck in a position where I couldn't have exposure to it. And it's not illegal to have exposure to a cryptocurrency.
No, it's not at all.
It's just regulations that were preventing me from buying it from an institution that wasn't allowed to sell it to New York customers at the time.
Yeah. Like it's unfortunate that a lot of these exchanges that are out aren't attainable by people in states that don't allow it. As far as I know, New York is like one of the only states, though, right? Like
it's the only state.
It's the only state. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's the only state. Someone can correct me in chat. I'm actually not viewing chat. I should probably view chat.
There hasn't been.
I can count the amount of cryptocurrencies on my hand that I can trade. I can just like go to Coinbase Pro right now. I think I only have like 6 or 7 right now.
Dang. So you have to do like over-the-counter transactions, basically. 2, 3,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 11.
Dang.
That I could trade.
Yeah. So over-the-counter is your only option.
Yeah, yeah,
Dang.
yeah. So that's why it's good to keep records of all those transactions so you can submit them on your tax forms and stuff.
For sure. Like here in
Yeah.
the United States, it is so important that you keep records of all of those transactions that occur. Like
Mhm.
if you have any dealings over the counter with anybody, like I remember back in the day with Bitcoin Talk, uh, all of those like new projects that were launched on Bitcoin Talk. Back in the day, like altcoins would go, or developers for altcoins would go to Bitcoin Talk and they would be like, okay, we're going to be launching this, and there was like a specific sub page for altcoins that were
Mhm.
launching, and like if people wanted to trade but it wasn't yet on an exchange, they would just do these over the counter exchanges, and they'd be like, okay, I'll give you so much Bitcoin for all of this that you have. And
Right, right,
that was literally all you had back then.
right.
um,
And to be clear, I didn't buy Tezos from Clayford.
no, not at all.
So it wasn't like a money to crypto transaction because you have to have like a money transmitting license for that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
So it was just more of I was using the platform to make the trade. So
Right.
yeah. So
I think
just wanted to
that's
make that clear too. You don't want to be like buying a lot of cryptocurrencies by cash because technically that's illegal. You need to have a money transmitting license for that.
yep.
Yeah.
That's very important to say
To
too.
get the lawyer stuff, the law stuff out there.
Yeah.
Not financial advice or anything. No
Yeah.
tax advice, no financial advice.
For sure. We
Yeah.
gotta. It's unfortunate that we have to say all that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
um, it would be so much easier if we could just do our thing. But
I know.
please, please, guys, keep keep all of your transactions. Make sure you're paying your taxes. That's very important.
Yeah.
But going back to Chainlink, I don't know enough about it. I know that there were some like articles talking about how Tezos and Chainlink were going to somehow uh, come to some sort of agreement. That's as much as I know about Chainlink because I'm an investor in Tezos. So I believe it's an Oracle service. Do you know anything about that, Kyle?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. Yeah. I
Yeah,
really, when I say I need to research these projects, I really just need to sit back and research. Sometimes I just get blinded by all the same. It's like most of these projects that I read about, it's all the same shit.
yeah,
So
yep.
I become uninterested, but like chains like Chainlink and Tezos are pretty interesting. So
Yeah,
definitely we'll look into Link.
Kev. I will say this: um, if it's getting overhyped by a lot of these YouTubers that um, like usually put out content that is profitable for themselves, then I would stay away from it. And that's pretty much all I'll say about it. If if there are a lot of YouTubers that are for profit, entirely for profit, then I would stay away from it.
Yeah. So I guess how long have we been going on for?
Dude, we've been going on for an hour and 47 minutes.
That's what happens when you talk crypto.
Yep. Yep.
You know, I could talk around a little campfire, talk crypto all night, have a couple of beers, and just chill.
For sure.
But now we're just on the Zoom, so it's
Yeah.
not the next best thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I don't know if what other topics did you have?
Do you want to talk about maybe rental properties? Like that's actually something that I'm really interested in because I my wife and I want to get like some properties that could potentially create some passive income for us for the rest of our life. And I know that you have actual experience with that. So,
Yeah, I watched a lot of Graham
mm-hmm.
Stefan, yeah.
Yeah,
So he initially got me interested in diversifying my portfolio. I started becoming interested right when like Bitcoin was you know right around its lows. It was starting to make a comeback, but it was starting to like get to me. Like I was trading every single day and it was just absolutely destroying me. And I'm more of like a hands-on type of guy. Like I'm an engineer, but I also like building things, and I'm just kind of like technical that way. So watching Graham's videos, and actually a guy who's local to me, I watched one of his videos, and turns out he lives in my neighborhood. I'm going to be on a podcast with him tomorrow talking about that. But he was giving me like tips on like what real estate to look out for, and like before I knew it, I was already looking at like these townhouses. And where I live, there a lot of people rent in my area. It's
Right.
We live in like the suburbs, but my little town is starting to become bigger. A lot more businesses are starting to come in. There's a big chip manufacturing facility called Global Foundries. They used to make all of the graphics processing units, CPUs for AMD. Now they're mostly making like modems, but they hired a whole bunch of people. So there's a lot of people that have come into the area. There's a lot of rent potential. So I identified this market as a good potential market to buy a rental property in. So I started looking at these townhouses. I found one. Uh, it was it was pretty much already set up to live in, but I wanted to make it nicer. So I repainted everything inside. I changed out the receptacles. I made sure everything was up to electrical standards. Uh, and then I listed it essentially for the going rate in the area. And what I failed to mention was I ended up paying this property off in cash because I couldn't get a loan. Unfortunately, the banks don't like how people just live full time off of trading. They won't give you a loan. So I had
Right.
to literally pay off the property in cash. And obviously that hurt me a little bit because I need that money to reinvest in other places. And I do plan on eventually taking that money out. But for this rental property, I charge $13.50 a month. It's a little townhouse, 2 bedroom, 1 bath, and it generates around $900 a month profit, and that's after insurance, that's after utilities. So I pay for the water, they pay for everything else, and taxes. So taxes is obviously the biggest one,
Right.
but any other little expenses, the property's in really good shape. I made sure it was in really good shape, so there's very little expenses other than that. But I got lucky. I have in that particular property, I have someone who's essential, so I haven't had any issues with rent. So that's really good. And once I kind of saw that working, I was just right to another rental property. I just wanted to get another one because it just generates a really nice passive income.
Yeah.
I set it up so rent comes in all through Ally Bank through a program called Cozy.
Yep.
It's just for renters. Like if you ever rent it out from someone, the chances are you might pay through Cozy. But the rent comes in that way, shoots it right over to my Ally Bank account, and then I have some of that money in my Ally Bank account, and then some of it I just uh, I put into my personal accounts. So some of that I'll save for taxes later on, and then the rest will just go for just my personal use, pay off my mortgage in my house. So, but yeah, I ended up doing that again. Same thing. I repainted the inside. I bought new appliances, made it really nice. This rental property is another townhouse. It is closer to that chip manufacturing facility, and rented out immediately. Which is interesting. I didn't think it was going to rent out that quick, but I got people really quick. Again, through Cozy, you can do the background check, you can do the credit check, everything checked out for all these people, good to go. Really good experience for the first tenants, and they're also essential employees, so I never even had an issue, which is awesome. And that property is even better. Unfortunately, the people who sold it to me were going through a divorce. They wanted to get rid of the property really fast. So they decided to sell it at quite a loss. So I ended up getting it for like 150,000. It's valued at 200,000. So it was like a no-brainer for me. I picked it up, repainted it, listed it, and now it's rented. So that property brings in 1,550 a month. And it generates around $1,100 profit.
That's awesome. And
yeah.
And did you have to pay cash for that one again?
I did have to pay cash for that, but now I'm really strapped on cash.
Yeah.
Especially, and there's other things that happened that I'm not going to talk about, but I'm really strapped on cash now, so I really need to figure out a way to get money out of those properties for living expenses and to reinvest into other areas, especially if the stock market starts crashing down. It's good to have some cash available.
Absolutely, because
Yeah,
then you can invest that at the bottom of a crash.
right, right. So if you're smart about your money, you can do well. You just really have to figure things out and just anticipate what's going to happen next, and you're good. I
Yeah,
don't know.
dude.
But I
Um,
highly recommend, like, especially if you're in hands-on type of person, if you want to do a little fixing up for fun, just fix it up and rent it out.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Did you do all the painting yourself?
yeah. I threw up all the painting videos on my YouTube
That's
channel, actually.
right. I
Yeah,
did. I did
yeah,
see that. Yeah.
yeah. I had a lot of crypto videos up, but those are gone. Uh, and I believe I'll start coming back.
Heck yeah.
Some more crypto videos. We'll see. We'll see.
I hope you do, man. Like I hope you start making videos again because the space really needs like good like I just feel like there are a lot of people that are only in it for the money, which is fine. Like I don't have any problem with that.
Right.
I'm a capitalist, but at the same time, we need people that are there to help educate those that are new, and maybe those that have been in the space for a while but haven't experienced like one of those potential problems in the space
Mm-hmm.
that can arise, um, and so the space definitely needs people like you, man.
Yeah, otherwise there's going to be just new people that are coming in who've never experienced the issues, and it's not their fault. They don't know. They're not
Right.
experienced enough to talk about it. So it's rare to have someone who's kind of like an OG in the space to
Yeah.
explain some of these issues. So I know what you're saying.
And
Uh,
I also like um, people that are willing to accept deals for things that kind of like fall into a gray area. That's also like not you, man. And I think it's important to have people like you that uh, are going to be looking out for the best interest of their viewers.
yeah. So if you see Clayford shilling some Asian exchange and saying you're going to make 100x within the next month, better
Yeah,
watch out. I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
probably a bad idea. Probably a
No,
terrible idea.
Binance links are good. We know Binance is good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did start allowing leverage trading, which is completely fine.
In Binance US?
Not on Binance US yet.
Oh, okay.
Binance though just opened leverage trading, I believe. Um,
Dang, dang.
yeah, I don't think it's anything like Bybit or BitMEX though. Like I don't think you can do like 100x. I think the highest you can go is like 5 or 10x. So
Yeah, I would never touch leverage ever.
yeah, I
It's
agree
just
with that
like I would just lose all my money. It's so much better to play with spot
for sure.
because
I
once you start playing with leverage, it turns from a trading strategy into like a gambling strategy
Yep.
because now you're just gambling.
Yeah.
You can't sustain a major loss of like 10%. If you're doing like a 10x leverage trade and the market goes down 10%, you're fully liquidated.
Yep.
That could be $10,000. And if the market just went down 10% normally, you would have only lost $1,000. So
And that's what we saw
I don't
with
know.
that last Bitcoin crash. Like BitMEX liquidated $100 million worth of users' money.
That's real money too.
Yeah.
I see those alerts on Twitter and it's like hard to comprehend sometimes, like a $50 million, $20 million liquidation sometimes. And it's like, these are real people, real
Yep.
probably firms, trading firms that just lost all of that money.
I
It,
I don't know if firms are using like leverage at like 100x and stuff like that.
Probably not. Probably not. Probably not.
They might be doing a little bit of leverage trading, but like the people that are doing like 100x, like you see these YouTube videos of like people that do 100x and like they're trading on like the minute candles. It's like you have no idea what's going to happen in the next minute. So you're absolutely right. People are just gambling at that point.
Yeah, it's just gambling at that point. It's
On a minute.
don't be that guy. Be the smart person, because the smarter you are, the more successful you're going to be.
Yep. Because
Period.
on a minute candle, you literally have a 50-50 chance of it going up or down. And
it's exciting,
yeah,
but it's not exciting when you run out of money to invest. And then what's the point? Let's say you had $1,000 and you did 100x. You made 100 grand because you just nailed it. Great. You still don't have any experience how to trade that. It's very likely you're going to continue to use leverage, and the market's always against you. There's big whales out there like on BitMEX that will clear the books just to liquidate you, even though you would never think that the price would go down or up as far as it did. And then your $100,000 is gone.
Yeah.
Now what? It's literally gambling.
And that's your life savings. Like,
yeah.
What do you do at that point? There's nothing you can do.
Unless you have like this incredible strategy where you are super risk tolerant in the way you leverage. I'm not saying all leverage is bad.
Right.
Like a 2 to 3x is cool. If you're getting into anything higher than that, it's probably getting a little tricky. And there's people that can do it just fine, but most people can't. I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah. I think only 5% of all traders are profitable. So you have to think about that. Like, that is an incredibly low number. Yeah. And
in 2018, I was part of the 95%. So,
I mean, I think we all were, bro.
Yeah.
But there's a huge difference between the way you trade and the way I trade. Like I said, I'm a fundamentalist, and I am a fundamentalist, obviously, but I think I'm also a value trader. Like, I like to buy things from the very beginning and just hold on to them for a while.
Yeah, I think especially when you're trying to manage your wealth, that is the best strategy to have. So
yeah,
I wish I was more like that. I'm trying to become more of a swing trader, meaning like taking 1 to 2 trades every week or every month, something like that.
For sure.
Tezos is my longest hold, besides Bitcoin, I guess, ever. So it's quite nice to just be disciplined in that sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with Taizos, Taizos though, like you are rewarded for holding longer. Like if you think about it like that, like your rewards that you get this month are going to be added to your funds for next month, and it just keeps compounding. So it's almost like a compound interest that you don't have to worry about. Like, you don't have to go in and select anything each time you get a reward. It's just automatic.
And 6% is quite a bit. Like I
good.
said, though, I mean, you do have the factor of, Tezos, the volatility, of it crashing or pumping, all that kind of stuff. And that's always going to be on the back of your mind if that kind of event is happening. But the compounding effect is quite nice, especially at these prices.
Yeah.
If you have a good long-term outlook of Bitcoin and crypto in general, these prices are probably pretty low. Not advice to buy into it or anything, but even if it goes back down to like $2 or whatever, everyone has like a different cutoff like point for an investment, but I'm just kind of like in that position where I'm just going to hold it no matter what. If it goes to zero, it goes to zero. Just because I believe in it. I believe in the way it works and the way it's just going to value itself over time. So
I'm in the same exact boat, man. Like, and I'm pretty sure we have close to the same position size with Taizos, which, like, we could definitely start up a baker of our own, man. I've
been tempted to start up a baker, but I feel like My power goes out all the time though,
Yeah,
and
that would be bad.
my battery backups won't last. I would have to get like some crazy battery backup.
But if you look at like Amazon, like AWS is
A
like,
web server, yeah.
yeah, it's like $30 a month, man. It's nothing.
Yeah,
Um,
it doesn't use that much computational power or anything. You just buy a single core with like, how many gigs of RAM do you think you would need to run a Baker?
uh, there there are minimum requirements online that we could definitely look up, but that would be interesting, man, to look into that.
Yeah, because if it's only like 4 gigs of RAM and like all you need is like a single core,
Yeah.
I'm sure the cost of the AWS would be pretty cheap.
And I know there are viewers of mine that have Tezos that would probably delegate to me, and I know you probably have people in your space that would probably delegate to you.
Maybe if they didn't all forget about who I was.
Nobody's forgotten about who you are, man.
No, trust me. I'm sure there's a lot of people, even like posting my videos about like the rental properties and stuff. Maybe the algorithm kind of screwed it up, but I got like no views on those videos.
Really?
I was getting like 5 to 8,000 views per video,
Yeah.
and rental property videos, 400 views.
I mean,
So
that's still good to me, man. Like 400 views is still good for me. Like but I definitely have a much smaller base than you do on YouTube, I think. So uh it's all perspective, I guess.
yeah, yeah,
But with that, I can say that people are fickle because I stopped posting videos for a while as well, and I just recently got back into it. And I was getting a lot of views per video as well. But honestly, I'm not really worried about it. Like, I think that the viewership will come back eventually.
yeah. Especially if we go through another bull run. I
Oh,
remember looking at my revenue, and it literally, as expected, as you would expect, it mimicked the chart of Bitcoin.
yeah. Yep.
Is I've posted it so many times, but like at the peak, that was like my top month. I think I made like $2,500 from YouTube, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And that was the most I ever got paid in 1 month off YouTube. And
Yeah.
that was right at the peak of Bitcoin.
Yeah. So surprisingly, the most I made was actually January of 2018. It wasn't in December whenever Bitcoin hit its peak.
Oh,
It was in
yeah.
January of 2018 because I was the first one to go live after BitConnect exit scammed. Like,
Oh,
I
okay.
was the first YouTuber to go online and say, like, yeah, by the way, BitConnect just scammed everybody and exited
Right.
with everyone's money. And I went live to like 11,000 people watching me.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like,
Wow.
I remember like turning on my live stream immediately after it happened. Like, I saw a tweet saying, "Guys, look at this," and I immediately clicked on it, and I was like, "Oh crap, I gotta go live about
Right.
this." And so I went live, and like I just started seeing like hundreds of people pile in, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what is happening right now?" And I was like, "Man,
You nailed the keyword of it. Yeah.
oh dude," and like it just it made me think about all of these people that are in my live stream right now are investors in this. Like, I can't even call them investors because they were scammed. Like, but
Yeah.
all these people just lost.
Believers.
Yeah, all of these people just lost a ton of money, and like they're in my live stream, and there was nothing that I could say that was going to help them.
No,
Um,
just the truth.
yeah,
Trying to bring them back to reality.
yeah,
And it sucks too because there's a lot of people who invested their life savings in it,
yeah,
whether it be like $500. Like some people only have $500 to spare,
yeah.
that they saved up and middle aged and gone. And then some people invested like $50,000
That
and
that
gone.
yeah, that Carlos guy that everybody likes to use as a meme, um, like put in like $30,000 of his family's money, and he never saw that money again. Like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like he like came back several months later and said like he had a rocky marriage now, like and all sorts of stuff, and it was just really sad.
And too, that before they announced the shutdown, that that the founders sold all of their BitConnect
Oh,
tokens.
absolutely, dude. They
Like,
made a killing.
imagine just selling everything and then like posting, "Oh yeah, we're shutting down." They left the market open, and then it went from like $300 to like 40 to 30, and they made a rebound to 50. And then you had Trayvon James that was coming out and saying it's going to rebound. It's better than Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And then people believe him, and then they just don't sell it and just collect whatever they can. Instead, they just write it down to zero with him. I mean,
Chat.
how irresponsible is that?
Yeah, chat. That is another person to stay away from. Anything Trevon James touches, do not touch. He was advertising just yesterday a new gambling site on Tron. Don't touch it. Don't touch anything that he touches. He's promoting Hex right now and some other platform that is built on top of Hex, which I can't even fathom how that works, because Hex is built on top of Ethereum. How do you build something else on top of Hex? But he's promoting that now. Stay away from all of that, guys. It's just a scam.
And the sad thing is, him and we were making like crypto YouTube videos together around the same time.
Yeah.
And I would come out with a video, and then like he would come out with a video and respond to some of the comments that I made, and then I would come out with a video and respond, and it was a cool back and forth. And then like crypto's news came onto the scene, and you responded to some of his videos. So like we all came on around the same time. And then he just went off to BitConnect, and it was just like I told you in chat, like I had every opportunity to go in with him.
Yeah.
Like it was so easy.
Oh, we all did.
Everyone did. Like
yeah.
Ken Bozak, he didn't do it for the same reasons. He knew better.
Yeah.
I still talk to Ken to this day. And we just are very thankful that we're not stupid.
Yeah.
I
haven't spoken to Ken in a while, but I really like Ken.
He does a lot of Apex Legends streams.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot of things like other than cryptocurrency. And that's probably why I haven't talked to him recently. He also like has promoted some things that I don't necessarily agree with, but again, that's cap.
Yeah, but you know what? He knows that. And people can learn from their mistakes, and I value that in someone who can admit to their mistakes. And like I've made some mistakes in the past. Ken maybe has made some mistakes, but anything that he's promoted, I know for a fact that he's admitted to it, like that it wasn't a good idea. So
yeah.
But
he's a good dude at heart though.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas Trevon James, I don't think is good. Like he does things for selfish reasons, which again is perfectly fine as long as you're not dumping your bags on somebody else. Like
so that's the lesson, people.
Yes, stay away from things like that.
Use your brain, do your own research. Don't listen to people like what was it, Craig? Who was the other promoter of BitConnect?
Oh,
Craig Grant.
Yes, Craig Grant,
Trayvon James. Just be careful. I mean, I'm not saying Trayvon James, his advice is all bad. Maybe he has some good advice here and there. I know he doesn't give out bad advice all the time, but like you just gotta be careful of like what you like buy into and like follow on the internet.
Yeah. And then what was the 16-year-old kid's name that like went?
I think he's like Nick something.
Yeah, Crypto Nick. Yeah. Dude, he made a killing and then just disappeared. Like he has not been seen in the crypto space since then.
Because damn right the FBI got involved.
Oh yeah.
And he got in some big trouble.
Oh, dude, he
Yeah.
deleted all of his videos. Literally, not a single video on his channel.
Once the FBI and the SEC or whoever was knocking on their doors, he was gone.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Gone.
Oh yeah. But
Like, dude, I'd be having panic attacks. But then again, I wouldn't promote that. So I don't
yeah,
know.
for sure.
Different types of people out there.
For sure.
So
Well, we're a little over 2 hours, man. I could keep talking forever, but
yeah.
um, I think we should do another one of these like soon, where we actually talk about a specific topic, and maybe chat could like think of a specific thing that they'd like us to talk about. Like Kyle and I have been around in the crypto space for quite some time now, so we have a lot of knowledge on a lot of different things. Like um, Kyle is obviously a lot more technical when it comes to analysis of prices and markets and things like that, whereas I'm a lot more fundamental. But we could easily like combine forces and answer any questions that you guys might have. So if you guys can think
yeah.
of some things, like post them in the comments below after I actually post this video and let us know.
Yeah, if you've been watching this whole time, thank you.
Absolutely.
That's some dedication right there.
Yeah, Kyle is gonna start his channel back up,
I hope so.
making.
I need motivation, man.
Dude, do it. Just do it.
I know. I know.
Um, and
I'm afraid I'm gonna get like a bunch of like people commenting like this channel's dead. This guy's been gone. He left us during the bear run. Blah 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 blah.
I don't think that'll happen.
Because I've gotten comments like that after I've gone without making a video for a while. So
Hmm.
I don't know.
Well,
Yeah, we'll see.
yeah. Um, guys, go ahead and check out Kyle's YouTube channel. Like, if you haven't already subscribed to his channel, go to BTC Kyle, all one word, and go and subscribe to his channel. So that way, whenever he does come out with a new video, you guys will know immediately.
Also, you can find me on Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any other socials right now. So Twitter at BTC Kyle, all one word. So
There you go.
thanks for having me on, man. It's
Dude,
fun.
I appreciate you coming on the channel. And this was fun, man. Like, I'm really glad that we finally got to have a talk where we could see each other's face.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's one thing chatting over Twitter and stuff, but
for
like
sure.
when you can have a real discussion
Yeah,
almost in person, it makes it a lot better, a lot more interesting.
for sure. All right, well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream there. Thanks, guys, for coming.
Peace out.